what's up? It's Ryan Stewman, and welcome to this week's Ask the Closer. This week's question comes from my boy Konstantinos. I hope I said your name right. Try to be all sophisticated and everything, but I'm not even going to attempt to say your last name. He's from Greece, right? It's my homeboy, been a homeboy for a long time. He reaches out to me and he says, Ryan, what do you do when somebody tells you yes, they want to buy your stuff, but then avoids you afterwards? Right? It's hard to get in touch with them. So what they're saying is yes when they're on the phone with you, but what they really mean is no. Well, first of all, people that do that are pussies. Here's why, right? So if you tell somebody and you give somebody your word on something and then you go back, or if you give somebody your word and you really wanted to say no, you were a pussy because you just should have said fucking no to begin with. That's my personal opinion on that. The second thing is, if someone tells you yes, the biggest part of the question was that Konstantinos asked was like, how long do you follow up with them? How many chances do you get before you just give up, right? So if someone tells you yes, I follow up with them twice. The first time I ask them, hey man, everything okay? We still on track? If they give me a yes again, I wait a few more days. I'll follow up with them again. Hey man, when you plan on paying me? We'll get the real answer out of them at that point. Right? If they give me a yes and don't hold their word and I have to track them down a third time, there is not going to be no third time. The third time I have to reach out to you to strike out. And here's why. It's not that, I'm some master salesman and got better things to do or whatever. But again, if you can't hold your word in the beginning, if the prospect can't hold their word to you in the beginning, what makes you think the working relationship you're gonna develop together, they're gonna be able to hold their word through that? So in other words, in my business, people have to take action items, right? You have to do this stuff once you learn it, or it doesn't make you any money. So if someone tells me that they're doing it and they're really not doing it, then I can't trust them, and that's a terrible way for that relationship to develop. So 3 strikes, you're out with me. So Konstantinos, if they're telling you yes and they really mean no, you probably don't want to work with pussies anyway. That's my advice. This week's Ask the Closer, hey, you gotta love it, right? Raw, brutal honesty, that's what I'm all about. Hey, if you want your questions answered, and you want to ask me a question, use the hashtag on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It don't matter. I check them all. Send me a personal message and email. This week's Ask the Closer came from a private message on Facebook. So just use the hashtag Ask the Closer, and maybe I'll answer your question next week.